Look, I know what you're thinking, oh god, Average Joel, another video about SBM, but to be honest, I'm going to keep beating this dead horse until it stops putting me in absolutely disgustingly sweaty matches. But that's not the point. Today, I'm going to discuss something that I think is actually quite funny, and at this point, it must be getting super difficult for the developers, the publishers, everyone involved to keep ignoring the issue at hand. That being skill-based matchmaking. Now, for those of you who don't know, yesterday, Sledgehammer Games announced that they would be doing a Q&A on Reddit today in like an hour. So they linked it in the tweet and they told everybody to head over to the Reddit page, drop their questions, and they will answer anything to do with Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. And to be honest, you have to see it to believe it. And this is not hyperbole. This is not an over-exaggeration from other YouTubers and myself. Every single question for this Q&A on the subreddit towards Sledgehammer Games is about skill-based matchmaking. It's about engagement optimized matchmaking. It's about disbanding lobbies. It's about ping being king. Everything, every question that anyone is putting forward to these developers tonight is about skill-based matchmaking. And it's to the point where I genuinely don't know what they're going to do or say when it comes to them trying to answer some of these questions. Because if they continue to ignore skill-based matchmaking, realistically, they're not going to be able to answer a single question without looking like absolute fools. And look, I know this isn't Sledgehammer's fault, and I really don't want to direct the hate towards them. The problem is that they're the only mouthpiece for Call of Duty at the moment. They're the only people who actually have decent communication. And to be fair, you can sort of see why the other developers in years gone have sort of steered away from this route, because at the end of the day, the core community of Call of Duty are going to be the only ones in the subreddit for Modern Warfare 3. And as a result, the only questions you are going to get are about skill-based matchmaking. And rightly so, because at the end of the day, there aren't really many other questions you can ask that you really care about the answer to if skill-based matchmaking is still in place. We don't care if they're going to add more mastery camos if skill-based matchmaking is still there. We don't really care about the weapon balance if skill-based matchmaking is still going to be there. We know why the connection is bad is because skill-based matchmaking is there. We understand the issues that we are facing in Modern Warfare 3, and we know what we need to do to fix them. And it's simple really, because all they need to do is just remove this egregious, manipulative, ugly, anti-consumer matchmaking system. Even if they were to replace it with something else, like, I don't know, an actual skill-based matchmaking system, it would be better than what we have now. The developers know this. I know this. The core COD community all know this, and it's the only thing that people want answered, to a point where I honestly believe the games would do a lot better even if they acknowledged that it existed, even if they just went through and discussed how the algorithm worked and what it's doing to keep us so-called engaged. I mean, look, obviously, we're going to see it's like 7:20 here in England now, so in 40 minutes, they're going to start answering questions, supposedly. So then, obviously, we will see. But I'm not going to wait until then. I'm not going to wait to put this video out until after they've answered some questions, because we already know they have signed legally binding NDAs that prohibit them from talking about the matchmaking system from Activision. Their hands are tied, their lips are sealed, and there is nothing they can do about it, which sucks because you can see so clearly how much they want to engage with us. You can honestly see that Sledgehammer Games and the head developers there are trying their hardest to become part of the community, keep an ear to the ground, and give the players what they want. And credit where credit's due, they've done an absolutely amazing job so far. We've got so many core Call of Duty features back that this game really does feel like a love letter to Call of Duty fans. I know there is going to be a subsect of people that are still angry at this game for being a £70 DLC for Modern Warfare 2, and I completely understand that argument. But coming from someone who tried to make content on Modern Warfare 2, and I made it about 6 weeks before I was totally disheartened and put off by the movement, the hand-holding of noobs, the safe spaces, the maps, the skill-based matchmaking, all of it culminated together in me never touching Modern Warfare 2 again for the whole rest of the year. Bearing in mind, I was getting really decent views on that game, but then we come back to Modern Warfare 3, and yes, the casual player base doesn't seem to be taking it on board, but the core Call of Duty community are really enjoying the changes that Sledgehammer have made. And to be honest, I'd love to sit down and read through a question and answer with skill-based matchmaking taken out of it. I'd love to hear their thoughts on some game mechanics. I'd love to see where they're thinking about taking this game. But that doesn't change the fact that this game will not succeed and will not continue to retain the attention of the core Call of Duty community while skill-based matchmaking is still implemented in the way that it is. We are crying out for them just to ignore acknowledge skill-based matchmaking just to tell us how far off we are. At the moment, we have no information about this matchmaking system at all, and that is why there are so many different theories. I made a video yesterday about packet burst and how much that is affecting my gameplay, and every single comment in my comments was telling me how it was to do with the skill-based matchmaking. They don't know that for sure. It might well be, but no one knows that for sure, and there's no way to put these rumors to bed because no one who actually knows what is going on with these games is giving us any information whatsoever. It just stays radio silent until the game dies, which it will, by the way. If this isn't spoken about soon, if this isn't sorted out soon, as soon as Warzone drops, the only thing people will be coming to multiplayer for is when they finally bring out 24/7 shipment and people can just mind-numbingly run around that map getting their weapon levels up, which is another shame because if it wasn't for the skill-based matchmaking, people would be sticking around with the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 3 for a hell of a lot longer. They would be exploring it and working with Sledgehammer to tweak the game and make it better and make it flow better and all round make Modern Warfare 3 the game that it deserves to be. But as it stands, like I said, no one is going to be sticking around long enough to see these changes happen. Skill-based matchmaking for the last 4 or 5 years has been a cancer growing on the underbelly of Call of Duty. And you can chime on all you like about how it's meant to retain the audience, but the fact of the matter is, it clearly isn't working at this point. I very rarely hear an argument for skill-based matchmaking, and when I do, it's for a style of skill-based matchmaking that is not present in Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 3's players dropped dramatically after the first few weeks. The same thing happened with Vanguard, the same thing with Cold War. All of these multiplayer games are dying way quicker than Call of Duty's did in the past, and a lot of people will point the finger at Warzone, but I'm telling you, the main reason people do not want to stick around for the multiplayer is solely because of the skill-based matchmaking. I know it sounds overdramatic, I know that it sounds like we're being a bit sensationalist, but it honestly is the truth. So many of the issues in Modern Warfare 3, even before they're fixed, could be overlooked if you weren't having to play at your A game every single game, if you didn't have to load up with the Holger every single match just to stay competitive, if you didn't have to go through like 3 controllers a month, burning out the B button and the left stick trying to slide cancel all over the place every single match just to keep up with the competition you have been placed against. If we were given the opportunity to explore the sandbox to its fullest, I'm sure so many more people would have positive sentiments about this game, but as it stands, it's just not possible. So as far as this Q&A goes, yes, I am interested to see if there's any slight hint that they're going to acknowledge the matchmaking system, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I honestly don't believe that these developers are going to say anything about matchmaking at all. And I think that if skill-based matchmaking was ever to go away, I don't think that we'd even hear about it. It would be down to anecdotes and feeling, and people would start talking about it feeling more relaxed, and it would take like Exclusive Ace to do a whole in-depth analysis on it just to tell us that it has been toned down. I firmly believe that yes, one day we will see the end of skill-based matchmaking, and I also firmly believe that we will never hear a word from anyone of the high-ups on the matter. But look, skill-based matchmaking is a massive issue, yes, but there are still so many more issues that we need to get addressed, and things like this Q&A are really going to be good for that. And for something that's driving me up the wall almost as much as skill-based matchmaking, check out the video I made yesterday on packet burst, because honestly, it is seriously making me want to headbutt the corner of a wall. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.